earlier. Mark Butler, thanks for coming into the studio. We'll start by getting Labor's position clear on the carbon tax repeal legislation now. It's in the House at the moment. When it comes before the Senate, what will Labor do?
Well, it will come before the House this afternoon or later this morning, and will come before the Senate in a few weeks' time. And our position remains crystal clear. It's the position we took to the election, and the position we've been arguing ever since in the Australian community and in the Australian Parliament. And that is to terminate the carbon tax, but to replace it with something meaningful. And that is an emissions trading scheme that has a legal cap on carbon pollution that reduces over time, and then lets business work out the cheapest and the most effective way to operate.
So you'll move to repeal the bill, but replace it immediately with an emissions trading scheme?
Well, as soon as possible. I mean, at the end of the day, the government will need to work out the details of that if the Parliament passes the Labor amendment, but as soon as possible we would move to an emissions trading scheme that reflects the developments across the world. We've had ETS schemes in the Northern Hemisphere for some time, but we're seeing them develop in China. South Korea, our third largest export partner, will start a very large ETS in a matter of months. So this is really getting with the developments in the rest of the world.
Will you be seeking Clive Palmer's support for that then in the Senate?
We'll be seeking everyone's support for it in the Senate. The Greens Party, Clive Palmer, other crossbenchers. We're not particularly confident of the government's support, but we'll certainly be making the case very strongly to the crossbench to get behind our fair dinkum ETS.
Have you started doing that already?
Well, we've been making this argument since September. This is the one constant in the debate around climate change today is the Labor Party's emissions trading scheme. There are lots of moving parts at the moment, particularly as a result of the developments yesterday, but the one constant in this debate is Labor Party's position on an emissions trading scheme.
Taking this position then, will that lock you in to an ETS being your policy at the next election?
Well, we're not announcing the 2016 policy this week. We're confronted with legislation in the Parliament this week, and we'll be moving amendments and arguing for a position we took to the 2013 election. The 2016 policy will be developed in due course. It will have core Labor principles at its core again, framed around the need for a legal cap on carbon pollution, which is completely absent from Tony Abbott's scheme, a market mechanism that underpins that cap, and strong support for renewable energy. So people can be confident that that will frame the 2016 policy, but the finer details of that will obviously be worked out in due course.
But if you've taken this policy and this action in the Senate, wouldn't that then lock you into this by saying that this is what Labor stands for? Wouldn't that lock you in to taking this policy then to the next election?
Well, people can be very clear what Labor stands for. A strong legal cap on carbon pollution that reduces over time, a market mechanism that lets business work out the cheapest, the most effective way to operate, rather than Canberra picking winners, which is at the core of Tony Abbott's direct action policy, using billions of dollars of taxpayers' money, but also strong support for renewable energy, and those core principles will be at the centre of Labor's 2016 policy.
Now, what's wrong with Clive Palmer's idea of having an ETS in place that's ready to go when Australia's major trading partners act?
Well, we're arguing Labor's policy because it's the policy we took to the election, but also because it's the best policy on offer. It's a policy that delivers a cap on carbon pollution now, consistent with developments not only in some of our oldest trading partners like the UK, Germany and France, many parts of America, but also our newest, strongest trading partners like China, which had its 7th ETS start only last week, and also, as I said, South Korea, our third largest export partner.
All right, Mark Butler, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.